Ah, Reddit. A place for memes, arguments, and joining niche communities. Sometimes, though, Reddit has an impact on the real world, focusing thousands of dedicated amateur sleuths to solve mysteries. From discovering that a man's bedroom was under constant surveillance to identifying a car using a single headlight, I'm Mike with List 25, and here are 25 insane mysteries solved by Reddit. 25. The Grateful Doe. When a man's body was pulled from a car wreck in 1995, police had no way of identifying him. All they had to go by was that he was a Grateful Dead fan, as he had 2 tickets to a concert in his pocket. Other than that, there were few other pieces of evidence. In 2015, 20 years after the car accident, there was a breakthrough. A Reddit user put all the clues together and posted them for the world to see. It quickly gained traction, earning thousands of upvotes, until it was spotted by the ex-roommate of the man. Using DNA evidence from his mother, he was identified as Jason Callahan, and the mystery was finally laid to rest. 24. Cicada 3301 Puzzle. Are you a fan of puzzles? Maybe you enjoy solving Sudoku or like a good brain teaser. If that's the case, Cicada 3301 would have had you on the edge of your seat back in 2012. It began with an image posted on Reddit aimed at highly intelligent individuals. The first image contained code that led to a subreddit with more clues. These built on one another, becoming increasingly complex, and slowly demanding that a team of people cooperate rather than just individuals. In Reddit communities, puzzle hunters shared information in a quest that turned into a worldwide treasure hunt, with some clues stamped onto street signs in Australia. It all ended at a website that only a few people saw before it mysteriously went offline. The exact purpose of the puzzles is still unknown, but one theory is that it was used to recruit cryptography specialists. 23. Webdriver Torso. In 2013, a series of bizarre YouTube videos began to appear under the channel Webdriver Torso. They featured either red or blue shapes accompanied by beeping sounds, with most lasting 10 seconds. Theories began spreading over Reddit that the channel was some sort of sophisticated code, possibly sent by extraterrestrials. Others believed it could be a puzzle, like Cicada 3301. But in 2014, all that was put to bed by Google, who revealed that the company was simply testing video and audio quality. Nothing more. 22. The Bugged Extension Cord. These days, it's common knowledge that most electronics have some kind of listening device in them, and it's mostly used for good. But there are some items that you would never expect to be listening in. Back in 2013, a Reddit user uploaded a picture of a strange piece of electronics he found hidden inside an extension lead. Online investigators got to work and soon connected the product code to the same model on Amazon, which turned out to be a piece of surveillance equipment. The original poster never found out who bugged his room or why. 21. Nail through wood. Fancy yourself a handyman? Well, take a look at this image and tell me how this nail could be hammered into that position. No, it is not an optical illusion, nor is it a work of Photoshop. Instead, it all depends on a very specific stage of the process. Reddit users worked out that the top piece of wood is slightly bent. That's because it's basswood, which can bend and compress after getting wet. The trick is to dip it in boiling water, compress the top part as much as possible, and hammer the nail through before allowing it to spring back to its natural shape. There's even an explainer video walking through the steps, but learning the method always ruins the trick, doesn't it? 20. The Box of Crazy. What does it take to inspire great art? In 2013, Reddit user TrampStopDan had a glimpse inside the mind of an artist. He posted an image of an old, worn-out wooden box, which he called the Box of Crazy. There were hundreds of illustrations inside, telling a vast and complicated story, covering mechanical designs, UFO sightings, four-headed beings, and extraterrestrials. Reddit was able to identify the author as a Danish man named Daniel S. Christensen. Christensen once had a powerful experience viewing a UFO, and it inspired him to make decades worth of artwork. The collection has even been displayed in exhibitions for the public to see. 19. The Homeless Bifid Cipher. What would you do if a homeless man approached you and gave you $50 along with a note? Well, one Redditor experienced just that and uploaded everything. One side of the note was a string of letters arranged like a crossword with more on the back. The money wasn't what it seemed either. It too had some kind of code written into it. Needless to say, it quickly captured the attention of Reddit sleuths. Hours of painstaking work resulted in using what's called a Bifid cipher, and the message was revealed, instructing the reader to meet them in public at a later date. A mass of people showed up at the location looking for a blue jay that had been mentioned in the message. In the end, no further clues were found. Maybe he should have kept the task to himself. 18. The picture that broke Reddit. 9 years ago, an image was posted on Reddit that nearly brought down the entire site. It was one of the earliest products of artificial intelligence, and it certainly shows. It depicted something resembling a squirrel, though with far too many eyes, an almost alien-like body shape, and a kind of psychedelic effect. One commenter broke down the image, explaining that the AI model must have used an image of a squirrel, which was cloned over and over and over and over again, resulting in a kind of swirling effect. AI has definitely come a long way since then. 17. 11BX1371. Want to see something really creepy? Watch this black and white video from 2016. It's a figure in a plague doctor's outfit facing the camera, making signals with his hands, with bizarre static screeching noise underneath. Entitled 11BX1371, the video was delivered to a Swedish tech blogger's office sent from somewhere in Poland. Once it hit Reddit, theories began flying. Maybe it was a marketing stunt, an elaborate prank, or simply a wild goose chase. A method called audio spectrogram analysis found that the frequencies actually spelled out the words, "You are already dead." Other parts of the video contain the coordinates of the White House and a handful of other strange clues. Whatever the reason, no one has gotten to the bottom of it yet, and I'm not sure I want to. 16. The old tape, 9M9H9E9. Back in the 1990s, there was no Spotify, and radio was still the norm. You couldn't really choose what was on. But one broadcast was extremely unsettling, and by chance, one man happened to record it. The station was WKCR 89.9 in New York, and the recording plays a few seconds of music, then everything goes silent, and what follows is hard to decipher. There are foreign, spooky noises, and at one point a voice begins to read the names of people who have died. Redditors proposed multiple possible explanations, one of them being that it was a kind of experimental art project. Since the station is known as a college station for Columbia University, well, this isn't hard to imagine. Even if it is, the old tape is still terrifying. 15. Sad Satan. Maybe you're not like me, but I can't imagine why some people actively seek out the horrifying, watching movies and playing games designed to scare them. Sometimes, though, even for thrill seekers, this media just goes too far. That was the case with the game Sad Satan, which was marketed as the scariest game ever. The mechanics looked simple enough. Players would walk down dark corridors and be confronted by flashes of graphic pictures. The gameplay already looks terrifying, but a later version made these images even more graphic, and probably illegal. When Redditors dug into the game, they had questions. The only video of gameplay came from the YouTube channel Obscure Horror Corner, which claimed to have found it on the dark web. But the link was invalid, so Redditors started to believe that the game itself could have been part of a marketing campaign from the channel, and that this version was later hijacked to insert even worse images. 14. A $17 million murder. Winning the lottery should be the best day of your life, not one of your last. After Abraham Shakespeare, a laborer from Florida, won $17 million, he bought a nice house, a car, and a fancy Rolex. Other than that, though, he refrained from spending too much. In his fatal mistake, he also launched a business with his financial advisor, a woman named Dee Dee Moore. Thinking he could trust her, Moore was secretly plotting to take him out. When he went missing soon after, online investigators slowly put the pieces together. Moore made an account on the website Sleuths to defend herself, unaware that she had revealed her IP address and email, which was later used as evidence to convict her. It just goes to show, be careful who you share your plans with, even your financial advisor. 13. Hotel ZaZa. Most hotels do their best to make customers feel comfortable in a home away from home. Hotel ZaZa in Houston apparently isn't one of those places. Reddit user Joe Likes Music posted about his experience at Hotel ZaZa, which left him feeling unsettled, to say the least. His room was decorated with pictures of skulls, and the bed was held up by an old chain. He told the front desk about this, and was quickly relocated to a different room. There had been some sort of mix-up because usually that room was forbidden from being rented out. Luckily for Reddit, Joe snapped some pictures before being moved. The leading theory is that there's some connection with the secretive Skull and Bone Society, since the number of the room, 322, is another name for the group. I guess that would explain the skulls in the room too. 12. The hit and run. Have you ever noticed scratches or bumps on your car? Sometimes you're sure of which car did it, but it's far too late. Well, this next story is an example of Reddit hunting down one of those cars. In 2012, a user posted an image of a smashed front headlight, desperate to identify the model. This was all they had left from a hit and run and needed some help tracking down the offender. The day was saved by one person, under the username, I have a stupid cat. Fantastic name. Unlike their pet, they were smart and apparently had a sharp eye for car models. They informed the original poster that the car he was looking for was a 1990 Cadillac Brougham. That information was sent to the police, who were able to identify the offender. 11. Akron's Jane Doe. Reddit has the power to solve much more than a hit-and-run incident. It began in 2015 when a young woman was looking into the history of her ancestors in Akron, Ohio. While researching, she found an unmarked grave containing a person simply described as unknown white female bones. The bones were from a 1975 murder, and that's when she reached a dead end, so she turned it over to Reddit as a last-ditch effort. One user, a forensic artist, remade the skeletal remains into a full-fleshed face, all for free. This eventually led to identifying the deceased as Linda Pagano, who had been missing since the 70s, and at last giving closure to her long-grieving family. 10. Walter Scott and the Elusive Taser. Because of an online investigator, a policeman might be able to appeal a 20-year sentence. In 2015, Officer Michael Slager shot a man named Walter Scott who was fleeing on foot. After shooting 8 rounds, Slager reported to the dispatcher that the suspect had grabbed his taser. But this version was soon contested when a video from an eyewitness surfaced, which appeared to show Scott running away. The video caused a public backlash and eventually had Slager charged with murder. After seeing the video online, a forensic consultant named Daniel Vauchard analyzed it extensively, focusing on one frame that appeared to show Scott throwing a taser. If true, it would add some nuance to the incident and allow Michael Slager to appeal his conviction. 9. The mysterious post-it notes. Imagine waking up one day and finding a strange note on your desk. Now imagine that it keeps happening again and again. The handwriting isn't yours, and you live alone. What do you do? Well, that's what happened to Reddit user rbradbury1920, who posted his eerie story in the legal advice subreddit. He went to the extent of setting up a webcam, but still couldn't catch anyone. Whether it was an intrusive landlord or secret admirer, Reddit wanted to get to the bottom of it. Rather than identifying an elusive suspect, the best advice came back in the form of a question. They asked if the poster might be suffering from some kind of dissociative disorder, or maybe there was a carbon monoxide leak inside his apartment. Sure enough, rbradbury1920 replied that he had been experiencing severe headaches. Case solved, and hopefully he got some medical help. 8. Stonehenge. Nothing gets by the observant eyes of Redditors, which is why when a random subreddit opened with only numbers and letters, the site soon collaborated to crack the code. One person, going by the username Fraglet, found the type of encryption being used in one file and applied it to another. What came out was some ASC2 art, basically a bunch of symbols arranged to make a shape, like a simple smiley face. What was the image produced by the code? Well, the famous mysterious monument of Stonehenge. 7. Reddit's mystery button. Are you the kind of person who sees a button and just has to push it? For a period of 2 months in 2015, Reddit would have been the perfect place for you. A subreddit was created with a huge box simply titled, The Button. The rules were simple. If a timer ever reached 0, the program would end. But if someone clicked it, the timer would reset to 60 seconds. A strong community quickly formed to keep watch. They attacked users who never pressed it, and tried to set up an automated program through a network of accounts. By the time the experiment ended, 3 months in, over 1 million accounts had been involved. It turned out to be a simple April Fool's prank by Reddit, but it proved once again the power of the Redditors. 6. Mount Chiliad. If you've ever played Grand Theft Auto 5, then you know how the game is just filled with details. There are side quests, Easter eggs, and secret messages all over the map. That's the perfect testing ground for Redditors, who didn't take long to find that Mount Chiliad was home to some strange markings. like symbols of a jetpack, an alien egg, and a UFO. This hunt inspired its own subreddit, where users found that in the game's scripts, the alien egg should exist somewhere. But 11 years later, still hasn't been discovered. 5. Fuel cylinder found by a Reddit user. When a gigantic metal cylinder appeared on an Australian beach last year, locals didn't know what to make of it. Some speculated that it might belong to the infamous missing flight MH370, but there was no match. A police investigation couldn't crack the mystery, and so once again it was left up to the eagle-eyed detectives of Reddit. User Fizzrock correctly identified the object as the fuel cylinder of the Polar Satellite Launch Vehicle, launched by India years ago. Experts agreed, explaining that this part detaches from the main craft and usually drops off into the ocean. Only this one somehow found its way to a sunny Australian beach. 4. The shower curtain effect. Have you ever used a shower with a curtain? Let me ask you this. Did you notice it float towards you once the water was on? Well, you might not have thought about it, but you've had a first-hand experience with a serious debate in physics. And on Reddit. Users proposed theories, all drawing on different physics principles, but the most likely answer comes from a mechanical engineering professor, David Schmidt. Schmidt ran it through a computer simulation that determined that the reason for the behavior came from a vortex being created by the water falling, described as a hurricane turned on its side. Now that's a much cooler way of describing a shower. 3. The sea door. There's something about doors that attracts our curiosity. It's only logical to think that a door must lead to something important, otherwise, why would someone build it, right? That's why Reddit became obsessed with a mysterious door built at the bottom of a seawall in France. Some believe that it could have been used as an emergency bunker during World War II, which seemed like a plausible explanation. However, much more likely was the top comment, which suggested that it was a stormwater runoff, allowing it to empty directly into the ocean. 2. Trial trenches. Forget crop circles. Check out these strange markings carved into the soil. Seen from above, they look like intricate leaves, nearly all of them the same size. After coming across them on Google Maps, Reddit user Robbo_6 uploaded an image in search of answers. Sure enough, the answers soon came back. These are what is known as trial trenches, which are dug in the early stages of archaeological work to survey the area. It helps them avoid excavating the entire space. 1. The National Park Vandal. Usually done in the dead of night by troublesome teenagers, graffiti is in almost every city on Earth. One place you wouldn't expect to find it is in a national park, which is why the Reddit hiking subreddit was so enraged when images of graffiti across several national parks were posted. The post identified the vandal as Casey Knockett, who went by the artist named Creepy Tings. It also attracted the attention of the National Park Service, and Knockett was charged with vandalism, banned from the parks for 2 years, and sentenced to 200 hours of community service. So, if you could solve any one mystery, which would it be? Let me know in the comments below. Also, don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any new content, and check out our social medias, including my personal ones, links in that description below. Now, Redditors may have cracked those cases, but they can't solve them all. One woman back in 1951 seemed to spontaneously combust. It was so hot that her body was essentially cremated while the rest of the room wasn't affected at all. So what happened to her? Or how about a family's house that was suddenly covered in blood, dripping down the walls and covering the floors with no sign of a crime? There didn't seem to be an easy explanation. Thickening the plot, the blood was later confirmed to be human. So, to check out those 25 most famous unsolved mysteries, click right here. We can stay on this mystery train. That'd probably be a good title for a book or a movie. The Mystery Train. That probably already exists. Just click it. There's not a mystery. This is a good video, so click.